Welcome to this deep dive where we take a stack of your sources and really unpack them to find those crucial insights.
Yeah, think of it as your shortcut to getting informed on something that, well, impacts pretty much anyone trying to do anything meaningful.
And today's topic is a big one. It's a fundamental challenge, really. Ego.
Exactly. Ego, that inner voice, that sort of relentless focus on I, that the material we're looking at today argues is maybe our most formidable obstacle.
We're drawing a lot today from Ryan Holiday's book, Ego is the Enemy. He actually calls it the book he wished he'd had at critical points in his own life.
And the sources, right from the start, give us a pretty clear definition of the kind of ego we're discussing. It's not, healthy self-confidence.
No.
It's described as an unhealthy belief in our own importance. Things like arrogance, self-centered ambition. It's called that petulant child inside that need to be better than, more than, recognized for, way beyond any reasonable utility.
So it's when your idea of yourself starts warping reality.
Yeah, precisely. When self-confidence slides into arrogance, or assertiveness becomes just plain stubbornness.
Okay.
And, self-assurance turns into recklessness. It's like this internal force constantly pulling you off track.
And modern culture doesn't exactly help matters, does it?
Not really, no. The sources argue it often fans these flames. Makes it so easy to just talk, to puff ourselves up online, brag on social media, always chasing that external validation.
That dopamine hit.
Right. We're told think big, live big, and it's easy to confuse the symptoms of success, like maybe swagger or being talked about,
Yeah.
with the actual causes of achievement. What really got you there?
It's a powerful idea, and maybe a little uncomfortable, honestly.
It can be.
Because the core argument seems to be, look, whether you're just starting out, full of dreams, or you've already found success, or maybe you're even dealing with failure right now, your biggest enemy isn't somewhere out there. It's inside you. It's your ego.
Absolutely. And our mission today in this deep dive is to really unpack how ego shows up, how it works against you at each of those stages: aspiration, success, failure.
And then find the antidotes.
Yes, exactly. Look at the solutions offered by philosophy, by history, by these really compelling examples.
Okay, let's dive in right there. Aspiration. You're just starting out, ambitious, full of energy. How does ego trip you up then?
Well, one of the first big traps is just talk, 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 talk.
Instead of action.
Exactly. The temptation for hype and talk to completely replace the actual work. Ego wants that feeling of importance now.
Right.
It wants, and I'm quoting here, as much public credit and attention as it can for doing the least.
That makes so much sense. It feels good to announce the big plan. People pat you on the back.
Totally. Think about Upton Sinclair. Famous writer, activist, ran for governor of California back in the 30s.
Oh, wow.
Before the election, he publishes a book, I, Governor of California and How I Ended Poverty, written as if he'd already won.
Wow. Talk about putting it out there.
Right, a bold move using his writing skill. But observers noted something interesting. After the book came out, Sinclair seemed to kind of lose steam on the actual gritty campaign work.
Because he'd already felt the win in his head.
Kinda. He'd lived it in his imagination, put it in the book. The book was a bestseller, but the campaign? Huh. Well, it failed.
And it's not just big political things. There's the example of Emily Gould, the writer.
Yeah, she got a book deal, which is huge, but then really struggled to actually write the novel.
Why?
She realized she was spending, in her words, a lot of time on the internet. The talking, the connecting, the being visible online. It was replacing the hard, quiet work of writing.
Oof. That hits close to home for many, I bet.
I think so. And this points to a core choice ego forces on you early: to be or to do.
Okay, explain that.
Ego pushes you towards wanting to be somebody, recognition, status, being in the club.
And the alternative is?
Simply to do something. Focus on the work, the contribution, the building, the craft. Being true to yourself, even if it means less immediate limelight.
This sounds like that military strategist John Boyd, 42nd Boyd.
Exactly. He was legendary for his ideas, but not always popular with the higher-ups.
Right.
And he'd pull young, promising officers aside and lay out this choice. A fork in the road.
What do you say?
Something like, Tiger, one day you'll face this fork. Go that way, pointing. And you can be somebody. You'll compromise, maybe turn your back on friends, but you'll get promoted, be in the club.
Ouch.
Or, he'd say, pointing the other way, you can go that way, and you can do something for your country. You might not get promoted, but you won't have to compromise yourself. And your work might actually make a difference.
Wow. That's stark. External rewards versus the work itself.
And Frederick Douglass said something powerful about this. A man is worked upon by what he works on. Choose that ego path, make those compromises.
And it changes you.
Exactly. Now, having a purpose larger than yourself can make some choices easier. Priorities become clear, but it also makes other things harder. Because everything gets measured against that purpose. Anything that doesn't fit, even if it brings personal gain, can feel like a compromise. Boyd himself chose the do-something path.
Yeah.
Pushed for unpopular reforms, died with uncashed checks he saw as bribes, and was almost forgotten for a while, kind of punished for prioritizing the work over fitting in.
That takes incredible conviction. Okay, so ego pushes talk over action, being overdoing. What else gets in the way early on?
Well, there's a clash between early ambition and reality. The reality that you're probably not as good as you think you are yet.
Uh-oh.
And a lot of what you know might be incomplete or just plain wrong. Ego hates admitting this.
So the antidote is?
To become a student. A
Yeah.
perpetual student. Which is tough because ego wants to feel accomplished now.
I love the Kirk Hammett example here,
Yeah.
Metallica guitarist.
Right. Joins arguably the biggest metal band on the planet, living the dream. And what's one of the first things he does?
Finds a teacher. Joe Satriani.
Exactly. Even having made it, he knew, I'm not good enough yet. He humbled himself, sought out tough instruction to nail the fundamentals.
When the world's telling you you're a god, that's humility.
It really is. And look at Frank Shamrock, the martial artist. His whole formula for growth involves getting feedback from everywhere, coaches, partners, opponents.
Why?
Specifically to purge ego, fear, laziness. He says you have to put yourself beneath someone you trust. To get great, you need to know what came before, what's happening now, what's next, always learning.
And ego's temptation after a small win is, I've arrived.
Totally. That's why so many talented people peak early. Access to learning is everywhere now, but ego makes us defensive, hostile to the feedback we need. Remember, when the student is ready...
The teacher appears.
Yeah.
Ego blocks that readiness. So how do you fight that? How do you counter this resistance?
This leads to another key strategy, the canvas strategy.
Okay, what's that?
Instead of needing instant recognition or resenting the grunt work like that Roman poet Martial hating having to serve patrons,
Right.
the idea is to actively subsume your identity into successful people or projects. Just help them succeed.
But it's not about being a suck-up.
No, not at all. It's more like being an anti-ambulo, literally, a Roman path clearer. Find where someone important is going and help clear the way. Make it easier for them. Free them up.
And the key is letting go of needing the credit yourself, at least for a while.
Precisely. Think Ben Franklin writing anonymously because he knew his printer brother was jealous. He just wanted the ideas out there.
Or Bill Belichick taking that first job for free, just watching film for hours.
Exactly. He wasn't demanding a title, he was learning the craft. Greatness often comes from that humble grunt work.
So practically, find neglected tasks, fix things, produce more,
Yeah.
give ideas away.
Yeah, all of that. The insight is the person clearing the path often ends up controlling its direction. Ego's too busy wanting its name and lights to see that.
Okay, that's clever. But what about when things inevitably get tough? When you face unfairness?
Ah, yes. Ego screams, fight back, prove them wrong, especially when you're treated badly. But a crucial discipline early on is restraint.
Jackie Robinson comes to mind. He wasn't naturally passive.
Not at all. He had a history of standing up, sometimes aggressively. But when Branch Rickey picked him to break baseball's color line,
Knowing the firestorm coming.
Rickey asked him the key question, not are you brave enough, but do you have the guts not to fight back?
Wow. The courage to not react.
Rickey then spent hours just unloading simulated abuse on him. Robinson, naturally fiery, made a pact, and he kept it. Endured horrific slurs, threats, physical danger.
Without retaliating.
Never gave in to the anger, even took a photo with a racist opponent for the bigger cause.
So the takeaway for you listening is, your path will involve unfairness, maybe sabotage. People will treat you poorly.
Absolutely. Your ability to restrain that ego, prioritize the mission over your immediate feelings, that's crucial for anything big.
While this is happening outside, ego's also messing with you inside.
Right.
Trapping you in your head.
Totally. Anne Lamott called it station KFTD, playing nonstop self-praise, self-pity, self-loathing, a constant internal monologue.
Disconnecting you from what's actually happening. Plato's feasting on their own thoughts.
Yeah, preferring the internal drama to the messy work of reality. It's like that imaginary audience Teens feel convinced everyone's watching. Ego keeps that going in adulthood.
So you get stuck inside your head, paralyzed.
Instead of just participating, getting out of your own head is a huge challenge.
Okay. And then let's say things do start to go your way a bit. Early wins, danger zone.
Big time. Early pride. Your self-image starts to outrun the reality that you still have, so far to go.
Ben Franklin learned this early, fought pride his whole life.
The advice is blunt. Don't boast. Nothing in it for you.
Right. Pride instantly clashes with the humility you need to keep learning, keep working.
Which brings us back to the foundation. Work. Just relentless work.
Yes. Ego loves the fantasy of effortless genius. Reality, it's showing up every day. Relentless effort. Like Degas, the painter, complaining to the poet Mallarmé. He had great ideas for poems but couldn't write them.
And Mallarmé's killer reply, "My dear Degas, poems are not made with ideas. They're made with words."
Ouch. Truth hurts.
Mastery isn't a lightning bolt. It's word after word, stroke after stroke. There's no end zone.
Which, weirdly, should be encouraging, right? It means it's not magic. It's within reach with patience and humility.
That's the idea. You have to love the process, the practice, not just the outcome. Bill Bradley's quote, "When you are not practicing, someone somewhere is, and when you meet him, he will win."
And the book really warns against fake it till you make it here.
Yeah, sees it as dangerous when you're aspiring. You don't fake being a surgeon. You make it so you don't have to fake it. It's about the quality of the work. Honest effort.
Okay, that's a really solid roadmap for navigating ego and aspiration. But what about when you push through that? You find success.
Success. Now, ego gets, let's say, more sophisticated, more insidious. Well, the first challenge is something we've touched on, but it gets harder. Always stay a student.
But wait, if you're successful, people expect you to know things, right? There's pressure to be the expert.
Huge pressure. Pressure to pretend you have all the answers. Scientia influx, knowledge puffs up. Ego whispers, "You've arrived. You're set."
But mastery isn't static.
Not at all. It's fluid, requires constant learning, adapting. Look at Genghis Khan.
We think barbarian.
Right. But the sources say he was a perpetual student, constantly absorbing tech, strategy, administration from conquered peoples, siege engines, military units.
So his success wasn't just force, it was openness.
A radical open-mindedness, willingness to learn from anyone, even enemies. The total opposite of an ego that thinks it knows everything.
Like Socrates, the more you learn, the more you realize you don't know.
Exactly. You have to cultivate that humility, practically. Seek out challenges. Read outside your field. Be the dumbest person in the room sometimes. True pros enjoy being challenged.
Truckers stress knowing how you learn, right? Setting up systems for continuous learning.
Yeah. Otherwise, you risk self-imposed ignorance, assuming past success guarantees future wins.
And alongside pretending you know everything, ego tempts you to create a clean story about your success.
Oh, yeah. A neat narrative. Ignores the luck, the mess, the help you got.
Like Bill Walsh and the 49ers, turning them around so fast.
Incredible turnaround. But he refused to spin it as some grand plan. He credited his standard of performance.
Which was?
Insanely detailed. How players sat at practice, dress code, drill timing, tiny things.
Small stuff again.
He knew if they nailed the details, the score takes care of itself. He was humble enough to know the timing of the win involved luck. He didn't build a myth around his genius. He focused on the how.
That's resisting ego big time. Success can also warp your perspective, right?
Yeah.
Make you compare, chase the wrong things.
Absolutely. The disease of me. You start comparing, feeling inadequate despite success, pursuing stuff that's not your original purpose.
Seneca called it euthymia.
Yeah, the Greek word. Having your own path and staying on it, not getting distracted by what others are doing or have.
It's not about beating them, but being good at what you do.
Yes. Knowing why you do what you do is your anchor. It lets you say no to pointless races, ignore distracting status symbols, leads to quiet confidence.
But the more successful you are, the harder that must be.
Takes real courage. Courage to stop chasing things that look desirable but aren't really you, just because ego says you should want them.
Success also means more responsibility, managing people. Ego complicates that.
Hugely. Entitlement creeps in. A need for control. Paranoia, even.
Arthur Lee, the diplomat.
Yeah, his paranoia and resentment apparently got so bad, Ben Franklin wrote, but didn't send a letter warning it would end in insanity.
That need for control must be paralyzing.
Or lead to pointless battles. Waste so much energy.
Contrast that with Eisenhower entering the White House.
Right. His first move wasn't basking. It was organizing staff, delegating, trusting others. "Never bring me a sealed envelope," he said. Focused on the big decisions only he could make.
compared to John DeLorean.
Who loved GM thinking structure held him back, then created chaos. His company was described as chasing colored balloons, flashy ideas, no execution. Ego prevented effective management, led to ruin.
So success demands managing yourself and others. Responsibility, clarity, results, not playing boss.
And ego can block serving a larger mission. George Marshall refused command of D-Day.
Refused D-Day. Why on earth?
He knew Eisenhower was the best fit for that specific job, and Marshall himself was needed to run the whole war effort from D.C. Mission first, personal glory second, or maybe not even second.
That's profound selflessness.
It is. He also didn't hold grudges against people who treated him badly if they could still help the mission. Magnanimous. Prioritized the job well done, like Tony Adams said about football shirts. Play for the name on the front, and they'll remember the name on the back.
Success can also make you feel like the center of the universe, right?
Yeah.
Disconnected.
Definitely. Ego says meaning comes from activity, attention focused on you. You lose perspective.
So you need to actively seek it out, like John Muir in Glacier Bay.
Yeah, that feeling of sympathy, a connection to the cosmos. Realizing you're an infinitesimal point in the immensity.
Kind of shrinks the ego.
Instantly. It forces grounding questions. Who am I really? What's my place? Ego struggles to survive that perspective.
Visiting historical sites, thinking about deep time or space.
Reminds you others came before, you're part of a tradition, you're just like them in the sweep of things. Actively seeking that makes ego impossible opens you up.
And finally, success is intoxicating. Like a drug.
A powerful one. Ego fuels it, clouds judgment. The antidote, sobriety.
Angela Merkel is the example here. Her plainness, focus on results.
Yeah, maintaining equilibrium under pressure. Like Putin's dog stunt, she stayed composed, compromised on details, never on principle. Her strength was in that sober focus.
Like Marcus Aurelius fighting for philosophical sobriety.
Yeah.
Or that Zen master Zeugen.
Calling out to himself, become sober, do not be deceived by others, adding fame and money to the list. You have to actively fight the intoxication.
So sobriety cuts through the ego traps. Image obsession, contempt, needing star treatment, rage.
It seems to. It's like building a strong constitution for prosperity. Lets you make decisions based on reality, not ego's demands. Keeps you grounded.
Okay, so ego is the enemy in aspiration, finds news, tricks, and success. What about the inevitable? Failure, adversity.
Failure. This is where ego makes things feel utterly crushing. And worse, it often stops you learning the vital lessons.
But paradoxically, failure is also where truth is most exposed.
Exactly. It forces you to confront reality. Often, failure comes from outside, but reveals flaws you kind of knew were there, but ego wouldn't let you admit. And that's the opportunity for real progress.
Katharine Graham at the Washington Post inherited it after tragedy, totally unprepared.
Face unbelievable challenges, investor threats, a brutal strike printers wearing shirts saying, "Phil shot the wrong Graham."
Horrific.
Just cruel, sabotage, competition. But she persevered, learned under fire, made brave calls like buying back stock when everyone said the paper was doomed, turned it into a huge success.
Bill Walsh again. The road to victory goes through failure.
You have to walk that road. Understand what went wrong, accept it, push through, look for internal signs of progress, even when external results suck.
Failure also forces a choice, doesn't it? Alive time versus dead time.
That's a crucial concept. A moment of failure, constraint, suffering. Do you passively wait it out, feel sorry for yourself, dead time, or actively use it to learn, improve, prepare a lifetime?
Malcolm X in prison, 10 years. Could
Well,
easily be dead time.
Absolutely. But he chose a lifetime, taught himself to read with a dictionary, studied constantly, prison became his university, made his future possible. He used the constraint.
The natural reaction is anger, right? This isn't fair.
It is, but it's short-sighted.
Yeah.
Failure is often the chance to finally tackle issues you've avoided. This moment isn't your life, but it is a moment in your life. How will you use it?
And dead time isn't just laziness.
No, it can also be doubling down on the same ego-driven stuff that caused the failure. Many great thinkers emerged from prisons, literal or figurative, using a lifetime, but far more just, degenerated, focused destructively.
Ego also hates being unappreciated, unseen, which often happens with failure.
Oh, yeah. Ego craves applause. Look at Belisarius, Rome's greatest general. Saved the empire repeatedly.
And his reward.
Suspicion, slander, stripped of command, legend says blinded, became a beggar.
A harsh reminder that great work doesn't guarantee rewards.
Not at all. You control your actions, your effort, your ethics. You don't control appreciation or how others treat you. Mark Twain called it a sore thing to have labored and find humanity indifferent. You have to push past that need for external validation.
John Wooden's definition of success,
Well,
peace of mind from knowing you made the effort to do your best.
tying success to your effort, not the outcome or applause. Marcus Aurelius saw tying well-being to others' opinions as ambition, but tying it to your own actions as sanity.
The story of J.K. Toole and Confederacy of Dunces is so tragic.
Rejected repeatedly, fought editors, got bitter, took his own life.
And then the book wins a Pulitzer after his death.
The book was the same book. He couldn't see its worth because externals dictated his view. You have to find that worth internally.
Ultimately, failure tests character,
Mm.
and ego's response is often destructive.
Often, yeah. Doubling down instead of self-examining. Think Howard Hughes trying a drug deal after his company failed. Or Dob Charney gambling away his company, fighting his own board, hiring a lawyer who'd sued him. Pure ego-driven self-destruction.
Contrast that with the Patriots front office after drafting Tom Brady.
Right. Huge success. But they focused on the intelligence failure, why they almost missed him.
Holding themselves to internal standards, not just results.
Exactly. Scott Pioli keeping that photo of a failed pick. You're not as good as you think. Judging yourself by your own high standards, not applause, makes you less selfish, enables long-term thinking, helps you put the team first.
Like Orson Welles enduring Hearst's attacks without becoming bitter.
Refusing to become like his enemy. Churchill, the Grahams, they faced isolation and pressure and endured.
Ryan Holiday mentions reading What Makes Sammy Run about ego.
Yeah, understood it intellectually at 19, but still made ego-driven mistakes later?
It just shows how deep it runs. Bismarck's point, smart people learn from others, average from their own mistakes.
And fools never learn. The goal isn't perfection, being egoless. Probably impossible.
So what is the goal?
To be better, happier, more balanced, content, humble, selfless. Perfecting that inner battle often leads to outer success anyway. But even if not, refining your thoughts, controlling destructive impulses, that's a moral win and its own reward.
So we've really covered the ground today. How ego fights you at every stage, aspiring, succeeding, failing.
We've seen its disguises, talk over action, control and success, refusing to learn from failure, all sorts of ways it trips you out.
But we've also found those powerful antidotes. Choosing to do over to be, being a lifelong student, the Canvas strategy, restraint, getting out of your head.
Meditating on the immensity, staying sober amid success, using failure as a lifetime, setting internal standards. These are real tools drawn from history and philosophy.
It's clear the battle against ego isn't something you win once. It's constant, a necessary part of any worthwhile journey.
Absolutely. An ongoing internal struggle.
So maybe here's something for you to think about as we wrap up this deep dive. If ego is always there, always whispering these lies, maybe true success isn't reaching some endpoint free of challenges.
Maybe it's more about cultivating that inner strength, that humility, that perspective.
To face whatever comes next. Always staying the student of the world, sure, but maybe most importantly, the student of yourself and that relentless voice inside.